now, from sports correspondents all around the world, this is Pyro Sports on
Zollyhood Radio, where the magic happens.
This is Pyro Sports. Sports with a difference, where we focus on differently able sports, whether the disability may be physical or intellectual. It is your time to shine. Stay tuned each and every Saturday whilst your host, Jazzy Smith, keep you up to date with the latest news and interviews from around the world. Last week Saturday, we gave you an overview, a history on the sport of blind cricket. Today, we'll be still focusing on the sport of blind cricket, but today we'll be going into the rules and the regulations and how the game is played. But before we dive right into it, we again take it to Melancholic to tell us about his journey thus far in the game of blind cricket. Over to you, Melancholic.
Let's just start with me for a second. I am currently the president of the Northern Blind Cricket Association. The Northern Blind Cricket Association is a provincial structure here in South Africa. You can check our Facebook page. You just have to type Northern Blind Cricket, Northern Blind Cricket, and you will find us there on Facebook, and you will please like our page and follow our page. Now, for me, I've had a very short career up to now in blind cricket. My love for cricket started when I was 10 years old, and I only played up until when I was 11 or 12. And then from there, it sort of like fell away. I never really got the chance to play because obviously there was no structure for a club cricket set up for youngsters like me. However, I did play my first ever provincial game, or what people would say List A game, in 2012. So this is 9 years ago. I was very fortunate to play for my provincial squad, and initially when I got into the squad, I was a bowling all-rounder, and I was fortunate to play in the tournament, in the national tournament for my province, to represent my province, and we obviously walked away with the trophy. And sadly after that, I was in a major car accident, which then dashed my hopes for blind cricket because I was on a wheelchair for a while. But then I then took me about 18 months to 20 months not playing blind cricket, and when I came back I played again. And then for the past 8 years up to now, I think I've played cricket for like 4 or 5 seasons where I can say I've played cricket consistently. I've won the player of the season for my province 4 years in a row. I've represented my country at the highest level, 2017 at the Blind Cricket World Cup in India. So I was there. Hope you guys have a fabulous day. And this is Melancholic signing out. Have a blessed day.
In my last show, I played a short clip on blind cricket and how the game is played. I will replay the short clip, and from there, we'll be looking into the rules and the regulations concerning blind cricket.
Keeper.
You ready?
Yeah.
We'll get it.
In our last show, we looked at the history of blind cricket. We looked at how the game has developed over the past years up to this present moment. Now today, we are going to look at the rules and the regulations of blind cricket so our listeners out there can have a much better appreciation of how we as blind and visually impaired people are able to play the game blind cricket and how blind cricket differs from the conventional cricket.
Let's bowl the first ball.
Of course, without further ado, we have a very, very special guest, a man who has played for the Jamaica team, the Jamaica Blind Cricket team, and he has also played for the West Indies cricket team. I'm speaking of none other than Damien McLean. Good day to you, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time you're part of the world, sir.
Good. It's actually night. Good night. And I expect good morning, good afternoon, good evening to your listeners,
Indeed.
wherever they are in the world. Thanks for having me.
Indeed. Alright, so without further ado, like I said at the outset, we've given some information in our previous episode of the in terms of the games of how games actually started. The blind cricket actually started. You know, actual games between countries. For those who didn't get a chance to listen to that, we featured, we spoke about India, of course, South Africa, for example, who went to the various World Cups. We also spoke of test matches between India and Pakistan as well. Now, take us, Damien, to the aspect of firstly the ball. What exactly is the describe the ball for us?
Alright, so the ball, it's a white ball to begin with. For those who are visually impaired, or in some jurisdiction they refer to them as partially sighted, they are able to see the ball because of the contrast, the white to the green field or brown field or the white in the natural light. It's easier to see. So to begin with, it's white. It has seams like a regular cricket ball. That's the seam that runs around the ball. Those are also present. But what makes it different is that one, it is plastic. Two, it has what we call rattlers in it. Those are some small beads that shakes, they hit upon the plastic to produce a sound so that those who are totally blind can hear the ball. And the other difference is that it's a little bit lighter. And it is plastic. So those would have been the major difference between the conventional cricket ball, which is leather and still has the seam, and you have red ball cricket, white ball cricket, depending on test match or one day or T20. But in our game, it's just one ball, one white ball. That's plastic, half beads, and still carry the seam.
Throughout all formats of the game, yes?
Yes, yes.
In terms of the ball, how the ball is released by the bowler in question.
Okay, so the ball is in conventional cricket, the bowler arm comes over, or the spinner comes a little bit from the sideline. But in blind cricket, you bowl underhand, so you bend and your hand come from behind you. It's as if you're walking and swinging your hand, but you are making a deliberate swing, and then you come forward with your hand and release the ball. That is how we bowl in blind cricket.
Okay.
So unlike the conventional cricket where you can toss the ball in the air and all that kind of stuff, it's not so for
No, so
this cricket.
our ball rolls mainly rolls. There are some bowlers who are able to get the ball to bounce, but that too is another technique that you would have to learn to do. But for the most part, you're gonna see the ball rolling. Uh Another thing I must tell you to do is that there's another rule that says that the ball must touch both sides of the pitch when released, or else it will be considered a no ball. What this means is that so the pitch is 22 yards and it's divided in two at the middle. So the ball must roll or touch both sides of the wicket in order for it to be considered a legal delivery. If it doesn't touch both sides, then it's considered a no ball. That's one way how you can have a no ball blind cricket. The reason for this is that it's a listening sport, so it's important that the ball touches both sides so that the batsman, worse if he's totally blind, is able to hear the ball.
Let's say, for example, then that you have two B1 players, because of course we delve into that previously in terms of the different types of players or grading of the players B1, 2, or 3. Um, I'm going to ask you about that just for reiteration. But let's say, for example, you have two B1 players who are totally blind, standing at the crease. Of course, both can't run. So how does that go?
Okay, so the rules of conventional cricket dictates that an injured batsman will bat with a runner. So the runner will do the running for that injured batsman. So that rule is carried over into blind cricket where the B1 batsman is considered as an injured batsman, so he has a runner. So if two B1s are batting, you're going to have two runners at the crease.
So this is 4 players with bats in hand.
Yes. And of course, all the rules of conventional apply where the runner has to always be in the crease. So if the B1 batsman wanders out of the crease or the runner wanders out of the crease,
He can be
run out or stopped. Yes.
So I asked you about the different players, 1, 2, 3. Again, what's the difference?
Alright, so there are 3 categories. All these categories you have to be medically certified. The WBCC sets the parameters by which you are defined as B1, 2, or 3. If you're not certified, then you certainly can't play internationally. Certainly at the regional level, we try to implement that too. We want to make sure that players are certified. So B1 are persons who are totally blind or they can't see enough to use their sight as a means of functionality. So they are considered B1 totally blind. And I don't know offhand the visual acuity that's required for that. B2, well, I don't know the visual acuity for any of them really, because it's medically not necessarily up my alley. B2 are those who they have more sight than a B1. They will function in some instance with their sight, but not a lot. And B3 are those who are partially sighted, who they have a lot more sight. They are able to function. Their sight is a part of their function, and they are highly functional have to fit within a certain visual acuity as determined by the World Blind Cricket Council.
Okay.
Well, you preempted that question because I was going to ask you about the abbreviation you just mentioned.
Oh, it's the World. In fact, I think they have changed their name to World Blind Cricket Limited, but they are the governing body for blind across the world.
Okay, cool. All right. So now that the bowler has released the ball and it bounced on both halves of the pitch, and now reached the batsman. How does the batsman now respond to the bowler's actions?
So the batsman listens. Hopefully, he times the ball and he smacks it away. So, alright, let me back up a little bit. So the bowler has to listen for the wicket keeper, right? So the wicket keeper is a little noisy, so he calls for the bowler to let the bowler know the direction in which to bowl the ball.
Keeper.
When he asks the batsman that, the batsman responds is yes or no.
You ready? Yeah.
If he says yes, the bowler, just before he releases the ball, has to say play. If he does not say play, then that is considered another way to get a no ball. So he has to say play just before releasing the ball to the batsman, so the batsman knows that it's coming and he can bat. He can swing to try and hit the ball.
So unlike a regular player who has sight, or you call them the conventional players, they will be able to see if the batsman is ready or the keeper is still playing around or whatever the case may be. With this, you have to ask a whole bunch of questions.
It's not a whole bunch. You have to
I mean, when I say a whole bunch of questions, I mean, of course you can't see the what's going on at the other end of the pitch. So
right. So you basically take the signal from your wicketkeeper and then you ask the batsman if he's ready, and you play. You say play upon release. So it's really probably a three-step process then.
Okay.
With one question. Not a bunch.
Oh.
Now you mentioned the batsman being able to time the ball and swipe it away. How does the batsman what are the shots that are available to the batsman to swipe the ball away?
Alright, so it's largely because it rolls a lot. It's largely sweep shots that are played, and you will find that the B1s and the weaker B2s, they will more play those. They play those shots. The B3s, some of them you will see play with a straight back, but traditionally, conventionally, it's largely sweeping, reverse sweep, and the flat back. The back is flat, so that the ball don't go under it. But some of the more experienced people,
They
stand and strike.
Right. They stand and deliver.
Right.
All right.
The field placement. I'm guessing that they are either similar field placements or are there slight differences?
Alright, so they are the same field placements, probably except for you will hardly see the slips in blind cricket because we don't have a lot of balls popping up to give away catches, really. That hardly ever happens. So, but all the other field placements are remains traditional, and we do them. We still do the slips, but it's if you see it, you must wonder what the captain is up to.
It's up to
But yeah, it's hardly a feature. But all other field placements
Third man.
are up here.
Yeah,
Third man,
the normal,
the point, cover point,
the silly points.
silly point, silly mid dance, the mid off, mid wicket, deep cover, sweeper, all the short leg, square leg, all of them.
Okay. All right. So now that the ball has been hit within the
Oh, hold on.
outfield.
Let me just stick this in just before you move to the other thing.
Okay.
Another thing I want to point out about the feet, the boundaries, those are sometimes, well, those are pulled in a bit. So they are not your conventional boundary measurement. I think they are pulled in from 20 meters or so, 20 or 30 meters. So for the blind cricket, but outside of the boundary ropes being pulled in, everything else remains the same.
Okay.
Okay. So the pitch is a much smaller pitch compared to the conventional cricket.
No man, the pitch is the same.
Another pitch, I mean the outfield. I want to say the outfield.
Oh yeah. The outfield is a little bit more. So we use regular outfield. We just pull in the boundary.
Okay.
The boundary ropes.
Okay. So, like I was saying, now that the ball is now being hit, it's in the outfield. The fielding team now has gotten the ball. How does the runs accounted?
Alright, so the running between wickets is the same conventional, same way it happens in conventional cricket. For the B1 batsman, each run they make is doubled. And this is different because it is blind cricket. It's for blind people. So the B1 persons are premium persons. Each run they make doubles. And that only goes for the B1. So the B2, their scores don't double. The B3s, their score don't double. But the B1 score is doubled.
So
right?
If a B2 or a B3 runs, let's say 2 runs, that's just 2 runs.
Right.
If a B1
but if a
does,
B1 hits the ball,
if a B1 hits and they run, let's say 2, it's not 2 but 4.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So when the ball is out in the field now, the wicket keeper and the bowler, depending which end they see the run out possible, one of them call. So you out in the field have to listen and throw the ball to the one that calls, either the keeper or the bowler. But each of them have a responsibility to call when you're fielding the ball, so that they know, so that the person out in the field will know which end to throw the ball.
Keeper's head, bowler's head.
Alright, no, keeper, and the bowler would say bowler.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Whatever
word.
You know
Yeah.
who is.
Okay. Can you now we have covered the bowling, the batting, now what happens in the field? Can you give us an idea of what's the composition of the team like in terms of B1s, B2s, B3s?
Alright, so you remember I said earlier that the B1 is blind cricket, blind people game, and the B1 is premium. So your team must have 4 B1 players. If you have less than 4, you cannot constitute a team. So you must have at least four B1 players. You can have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 if you want, but you must have four.
At least four.
At least four. If you have less than four, you can't make a team.
Okay.
Then now, you are required to have anywhere between three. You can have three or more B2s. You can't have less than three B2s. If you have less than three B2s, you're going to have at least five B1.
Oh, so one makes up for the other then.
Right.
Okay.
But what you need to make note of here is that if you don't have a B2, you can go for a B1, but you cannot go for a B3, which is the one that has more size.
Oh.
You only can go for a B1. If you have 5 or 6 B1 and you wish to take one out, you only can replace that person
with a B2.
No man, you can replace them with a B3 too, but I'm gonna explain the B3 part of it now.
Okay.
So B3, you can only have a maximum of 4 B3s. You can't have more than 4. You can have 3, you can have 2, you can have 1, you can have 4, but you cannot have 5. So if you have 6 B1s and you want to replace a B1, you can replace him with a B3. But when you replace him with the B3, when you count off your B3s, there must be a maximum of 4. Can't be more than 4.
Okay.
Right. So, as long as you abide by your 4 B1 and so your minimum 4 B1, your maximum 4 B3s, you should have little or no challenge to constitute your team.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, I guess is it a case? Well, it has to be a B3 to be either a captain or the keeper.
Alright, let me deal with them separately. You don't have to be a B3 to be a captain. You can be anybody to be the captain.
Okay.
Sasa appear to use a B3 to be the captain because he may see things faster, pick up on things probably a little bit faster maybe. But we've seen B1s and B2s captain. There's no rule against that.
Okay.
The wicket keeper, there's no rule against that, neither I know. You can use anybody to keep. But usually it's a B2 and or a B3 usually.
Have there any has there been situations where B1s actually kept wicket?
Well, I've never
based
seen
on your knowledge?
I've never seen it outside of practice.
Okay.
We've done it in practice a lot.
But not in actual match.
I've never seen it on stage, but it's possible though.
Okay. And I'm guessing that's what it is then in practice, just in case it were to happen that, it will be something that is unnatural to a B1.
Right.
Yeah.
Also the umpire's calls. Of course, it's a blind man's game. How does that work in terms of course, in conventional cricket, you normally hear the umpire say no ball or wide or well, in conventional cricket spreads his arms or her arms.
Yeah, it's verbal. So all those calls, you would say them rather than make the just gestures.
Okay.
Oh. All right. So I think we have a total package of how the game is played. Is there anything else that our listeners should know in terms of the playing of the game itself that may have been left out?
Oh, there's another thing I want. Again, I'm raising the fact that B1 persons are considered premium persons, and it's a blind man game. So 40% of the overs bowled must be bowled by B1 players. They can bowl more than that if you so desire, but 40%. If you bowl less than 40%, you'll be penalized by the B1 bowlers. So outside of that, I mean, those would have been the major differences, major nuances. It's still the game of cricket, lovely. It's the game of glorious uncertainties. Everything it's fun to watch, and I encourage both and see it whenever they can see it, you know.
Question. Of course, I know you are inside and out as regards to either the West Indies cricket team or the Jamaica cricket team. Is there any tournaments before the end of the year, or was there?
No, not currently. With the West Indies, I think they are organizing for next year. Recently, Trinidad and Barbados just finished a development tournament just in August, so you might find excerpts of that online. I know Jamaica is now gearing up for the Brian Breeze Trophy in November. This is where we have 4 teams, and they will play in a round robin against each other to see who can win the Brian Breeze Trophy.
Is this an all Jamaican?
Yes, the all Jamaica affair.
Okay. All right. Since you have,
there's the Blind Cricket World Cup. I think it's the T20 World Cup that's coming up also in November. In November. Unfortunately, the West Indies won't be there because funding and other challenges, internal challenges, wouldn't allow us to get the team up and going in time. But we look forward to the next World Cup, which we hope we will be there.
Speaking of which, of course, the T20 World Cup for conventional players every 4 years. Is it the very same thing for blind cricket as well?
Yes, same thing.
Where would this World Cup be held?
I think this one is done in Pakistan. Yeah.
Right.
We'll do our necessary researches and try and find games and if we can find them, because these games are pretty hard to find.
Yeah, they don't cover them as they don't cover them as they use as they're supposed to. I would say. But since you have been both on the Jamaican team, you have been on the West Indies team. What is your experience like playing abroad?
Alright, what I can tell you is that it's 2 different levels. What you realize is that when you play locally or regionally, you see that we are still learning the game. But when you go on the international scene, when you see India, when you see Pakistan, when you see England, South Africa, Australia, when you see those teams, you know that you have a lot to learn because they play the game at a different level. Yeah, you see that.
And when you speak of the different level, what are you referring to? Is the way they carry out themselves? Are the bowlers more efficient? The batsmen more able to hit the ball? What is?
They're more competitive. You can see that they practice more. You can see that they play more. I mean, one of the mitigating factors for us here in the region is that we lack resources. You know, I mean, even conventional cricket is struggling with that now.
That's true.
We get following, we get sponsorship. So we struggle with that. The other thing that we struggle with is us being islands apart. So to get a West Indies team together to get the practice that you would want to make them more competitive, that don't happen. You might need them together for a whole month. So we can't afford to have people together for a whole month. When we're going on a tour, the most we might get is getting them together for a week before we leave.
And that's not
So
enough.
these are mitigating factors that I think don't allow us to be as competitive as some of these teams. So we have the talent, we have the players, but sometimes the mitigating factors don't allow us to demonstrate what we truly can demonstrate.
Understood.
Is there anything or any plea, or is there anything you want to say as it regards to persons coming on board, or other entities trying to do what they need to, just not only for Jamaica, or not only for, let's say, Barbados, Guyana, but the West Indies in general. Is there anything you want to say to listeners out there, or
Yeah, we want to appeal internationally and regionally to help us get the resources. Cricket bats, cricket balls, white canes for blind persons to walk around with. Those things are essential, you know. Funding. When we want to send that West Indies team away, when we want to send some women, because women play the game too. We want to send some women on a women development tour. In fact, I believe next year they're playing the T20 Blind Women's Tournament. So if we can get some serious regional support that will help us at the regional level. I mean, locally, I know the countries are trying, but it becomes very difficult at the regional level to get the support that we want. So if people, we always say, boy, if we can get assistance with cash, kind, or time, meaning people volunteer, give up their resources, give up themselves, those things would help immensely. And they can feel free to contact me at WhatsApp me at 876-542-3122, or
could you say that number slowly again, please?
876-542-3122, or email me at Damian McLean, that's DAEMIONMCLEAN .dm@gmail.com.
And I will also say this, I will hasten to say this: if you have no reason to text or call, please don't.
I know how to deal with those two. Yeah, but I know how to deal with those. So don't worry about that.
So once more again with the email address, please.
It's DAIONMELEAN.DM@gmail.com.
There you have it. There you have it. So, of course, jump on board. You will be doing one of the greatest thing on earth. I guarantee that. And of course, Jazz and myself, we both play the game, so you know what I mean. You never know.
Yeah, in our previous down the middles, we have been making this plea, for corporate sponsors, and the powers that be who are listening, to do take, the disabled sports more seriously. We give everything to the quote unquote fully able bodied team, but we always forget, those unable people who have various challenges, who have making the effort to come out to play the game and so forth, which takes more effort, to give the necessary assistance, what you will give
And
even
not
body
just
team.
that. Not just that. I want the sponsors to understand that with what happens nowadays is that, and it's not just nowadays, but what happens, people with disabilities, they don't exercise the conventional way. So a lot of people, you will see them get up on Sunday morning and they say, I'm going to play football, or they come from work and they go to the gym, that kind of stuff. If the gym is not accessible or have instructors to us, we can do that kind of stuff. And affordability is another thing. So it's important that your sponsorship come forward, because this is not just sport, this is exercise, this is rehabilitational support for new persons with disabilities who may come to the game. So it goes beyond cricket, it goes beyond whatever sport for persons with disabilities. It is exercise, it is rehabilitation, it is social support, it is all of these things. And it's very important that it's health. It's important that you contribute to this kind of a cause to give them or give us a chance to exist as human beings.
Agreed.
Well said. Well said. Now, just before you head out of here, anybody you want to send a shout out to?
Well, I want to pick up Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, Guyana, Windward Island. Those are the countries who currently play. I want to encourage them to keep playing. I want to pick up all the blind and visually impaired persons across the Caribbean. Pick up all who know me. Try to start names, you could get in trouble. And of course, persons can hit me up on TikTok. I just did a 2-part series on blind cricket, and it's on TikTok. You can search for Damian McLean.
Spelled the very same way, right? DAE.
Yeah. One like it, share it, like it.
I've seen that. I've seen those videos every day, man.
It's just my little way of sharing the world of blindness,
And like I said, Jazz, that was one of the reasons I reached out to him because of the posts I've been seeing. I just thought the world needs to know.
We will add your social media handle there so people can go and learn more on the game when we do post it on our website and social media platforms.
Fabulous.
This is what makes blind cricket unique and different from the regular format of the game. I'm hoping that our listeners had a much better appreciation and understanding of how the game is played. And with that, newfound understanding and appreciation, I'm hoping that the next time when our listeners stumble upon the game of blind cricket, they won't pass it by and would pay much closer attention to the game blind cricket.
For sure, for sure.
Thank you for listening to Paro Sports on
Zollyhood Radio, where the magic happens.